So I'm gonna explain how this thing works. Okay, this thing is all electric, the way you turn and the trim and all that kind of stuff. The kill switch, obviously. These dual 300-pound actuators, they lift up to 300 pounds, so 600 pounds altogether. The kayak itself is about 350. You add me, and that's roughly 500 pounds. So with the torque of the motor pushing it forward, it handles it just fine. It'll actually, at full speed, I can trim this thing up or down, and that really helps me get the right trim setting. I have a smaller one here, smaller actuator here, and it'll be kind of hard to show you what that does. If you can see that, if I push it forward, all right, I'm pushing this forward and backwards now. So left and right steers. See how that works? Just goes in and out, grabs it, steers it, right? Well, forward and back pulls this actuator in and out like that, and it's attached to this little gear handle right here. Forward, neutral, reverse. Right now it's in neutral. So if I were to be on the water, I could push that arm forward, and it would actually put this in forward. Obviously, if I pull it back, then it's going to pull out of gear. Pull it back more, it's going to go into reverse. And that's how I control everything from the seat here. Now, one thing that's not electric, of course, is the throttle. It's just a simple cable. And it just, pulls that. That's all it is. Very simple. What I did was I took a whole bunch of zip ties right here. A lot of this thing is zip tied together. But I zip tied these cables right here. And this is basically like a lawnmower cable. And it's zip tied down here. And I mean, it's crazy. Look at it. But it works. And that cable just runs through here, straight up to this little handle right here. Now the trim works in 3 different locations. I got it up here. I can hit this with my toes when I'm standing up here fishing, or I can hit it with the moment you switch up and down. And that, just like any boat, same thing here. Right? And of course, when I'm stowing it, and I know this gets ridiculous, bear with me. Same thing. Right? I got a little waterproof rubber cover over that switch. You can get those from Bass Pro Shop. I got several of those covering all my switches for the obvious reason. So, basically the way I have this, check this out. These 2 actuators in tandem. Hold this thing, okay? And you can see it's actually angled under the boat a little bit. Now for a kayak, not having a big wide back end like a bass boat or a plane pad, what that'll do is it actually pushes the kayak nose down, and that water will come up over the bow and over the sides, okay? And I learned that it's not like a normal bass boat where you trim it all the way down, hit the gas, you'll come up out of the hole, and you trim it up, and you'll start to kind of get on top of the water and do like that. So it's the same principle, just kind of opposite. I actually have to trim this thing up quite a bit just before takeoff, and that will raise the bow out of the water. And as it builds up speed, and it actually will plane out just a little bit. I mean, it's a kayak, so it's not going to be like a bass boat, but it will plane out somewhat. And when it does, I'll trim it back down about 90 degrees, right about there. And that's usually enough to keep it gliding on top of the water and keep the water from rushing over the bow. And that, especially, now if the waves get up, I'll trim it up a little bit, keep the bow out of the water a little bit. The Army's here. I don't know if you can hear that. So here's how I have it mounted. Basically, I have a cool friend, all right? Cool friend I work with. His name's Zach Bell. And I have to give him credit for a lot, pretty much all of the mounting process that goes along with this right here. These are, I don't know how to describe it. They're basically just steel. They're hollow. And we basically made what kind of looks like boots. Notice that right there? It kind of looks like 2 pairs of shoes. All right, now he cut those up and welded those for me. They're just bolted in right here. And I got some up under there. Sorry, I'm trying to control 2 cameras. All right, so I got them up under there as well, okay? 2 of them. And that sits on another piece of metal that I basically bought from Lowe's, and then a piece of acrylic. All right, and then I've got some sealant up under there. I hope you can see that. Like I said, I'm working with 2 cameras here. But that piece of acrylic keeps this part right here from basically cracking or bending. Okay, I've had problems with leaks. I've since fixed them, but this will leak a little bit, and you know, you don't want that, clearly. So that's why I have a bilge pump. How ridiculous is that? I have a bilge pump, and that's controlled up here. See what I'm saying? Pumps that water out pretty quick. All right, so that the other end of this is tied down with 2 more bolts there, and I'm gonna show you the inside here in a second. And I've got another brace, comes up right there. That also helps brace this a little bit more. And there's a brace that's just like that up under it, tied to it. Now, like I said, I'll show you that in just a second. Here I just bought basically a metal tube from Home Depot and bolted the actuators to it. And that's what pushes the bracket to and from, away from the boat when I trim it up. And I kind of had to modify that a little bit, but I bought that off of eBay. And it fits the motor perfect. I mean, look at that. That's great. So I took 2 U-bolts and I fixed them to these brackets that go straight through here. And that's what fixes it to a fixed point on the motor itself and keeps this part right here in one spot while allowing this to actually move the motor, which, you know, obviously we know pivots right there. But here's my kill switch. All right, this is how I did the kill switch. I took it off from over here. It's still there. I just took it apart so that I could run the wires from right there where it's grounded, okay, all the way back up to the spark plug, all the way down through these wires right here. It runs through here just like the actuators. Actually, no, it runs right here. I was wrong. Okay, it runs right through here, right through that tube, and it comes up right there. All right, you see that right there? And it goes over to that kill switch right there that has a little protector on it. So that way I don't actually shut this thing down by accident. And what I'll do is usually I'll just reach through this hole or up under there when I'm ready to shut down once it's in neutral. And I'll hit that switch, it'll shut right off. I'll flip that protector right back up and it's ready to start up next time. I'll tell you about the oil that I use. I use Quicksilver 4-stroke marine oil, 25W40, and that's really all I could find. There's really not a lot of option, especially at Walmart or even Bass Pro Shop or Academy. Of course, this is where I got it. But there's not a lot of 4-stroke outboards, believe it or not, oil. So I got cool lights. Why not, right? Oh yeah, let me show you the inside. That's basically the wiring system. I know it's hard to see because of the lights, but that all comes up through here, and it could eventually, it's probably eventually going to break. I'm probably going to sink into the ocean, but hey, whatever. At least I'll have a camera on it, right? So that's pretty much it. I ran my my electrical from here right through, just like that one right there, through this through hole. These cords go right through that through hole and actually run up. And I should have had this open, but it's all right. To the battery that's stored right up under there, and then they run back 4 total cords that has reverse polarity to each one of these actuators. So depending on which way I hit this is where, you know, obviously how it's going to respond and which one is going to actuate. Same with these switches are all wired into one relay, and that relay runs up to the battery through a fuse and right back to the actuators. Now, I'll tell you a little bit about the fuel, and I think that's pretty much it. So this is what I carry. Now, it's got a tank on it. And it was in liters, and I forget off the top of my head how much fuel it'll hold. Obviously not a lot. I mean, that's all it is. It doesn't burn a lot though, but this is what I carry. An external 1 gallon. I guess 1 gallon. Get my facts right. Yeah. So I carry that with me that way, and I have to run 93. Got to run Supreme. That's what it says on YouTube is run Supreme. And I've put 91 in it before. I don't think it's good for it, but it will run. Anyway, I think it's pretty much it. Man, it's a pretty cool deal. Oh, I'll tell you about this flap here. This is something I added fairly recently. What I noticed is a lot of the water, was bouncing off of all of this stuff right here. It's bouncing off this bracket and of course the motor, and it was bouncing back up into this, and I think that was slowing me down a lot. Oh, hey doggy. So what I did was I just took a really thin piece of acrylic and just put it there, and it kind of almost works like a hydrofoil that keeps that water streamlined straight up to here. Kind of like those things, it keeps it, you know, keeps the water from going up into everything. And I'll tell you about this Stingray too. If you've never seen one of these, it helps the boat plane out. This kayak actually kind of begins to rock a little bit. Once you put this thing on there, it cuts down on that probably about 75%. It'll still do it because, hey, it's a kayak. But that really helps it to stay stable on the water, especially at high speeds. And it's perfect too. It's tiny. It just fits this thing perfect. It looks so crazy going down the road. I see people taking pictures all the time, and one of the reasons why I started a YouTube channel for it is people are always taking pictures and asking questions and just wanting to know. And of course, I love fishing out of it, and I love making videos. So why not, right? These actuators are from Progressive Automation. See that right there? It's a little beat up, but you see that right there. Okay, so go ahead and visit that. Visit progressiveautomations.com if you're interested in this sort of thing. They have all kinds of different sizes. I'm not advertising for them. They're not paying me to advertise, but I really like the product. The joystick came from there as well, and all 4 of these actuators came from there, so I don't mind giving them a little shout out. They're pretty awesome. I called them one time because I had an issue with one of these, and they were really cool, so that's always good. So basically, I took this bracket right here and bolted it in right here on each side, 4 total, and that's what holds this on, and it pivots right here. And I took a whole bunch of marine grease and caked that up so that way it'll glide smooth. And of course it's bolted on right here, and that holds the motor and all this. You see how all this works. Now, well, I got this on eBay, okay? I got this on eBay for about $695. It took about 3 weeks to get here. And it's a 7-horse, 4-stroke outboard. I guess that's Hangkai. That's what I call it, Hangkai. I'm not sure if that's the pronunciation. Hangkai. And what it's going to say on eBay, if you look this motor up, 173 cc. Well, it says 196 on top of the motor, so that's what I'm going with. And fully loaded with fishing gear and myself, well, I'll get this thing up to about 15, 16 miles an hour. By the way, the fastest outboard motorized kayak goes 17 miles an hour. So gas motor anyway, not the jet motors, but I can beat that. And that's what we're going to do this spring. Since we get some good enough weather, I'm going to beat that. I'm going to strip this thing down and keep the essentials, and we're going to go for that record. Why not, right? Be cool. Man, it's pretty sweet. Biggest reason why I did this is because my shoulder was killing me. My back was killing me, and I know I'm not the only one. I know guys paddle these things, and I think it's awesome. I think it's amazing. And I have nothing but respect for the people who pedal or paddle these things, man. It's awesome. I know a lot of guys put the trolling motor on the back. I put mine on the front, mainly because I like to stand up and fish. I have a hard time sitting down in fishing, and I like to stand up and fish. And this trolling motor gives me the ability to stand up and troll up and down the bank. I primarily bass fish. And anyone who bass fishes knows that you have to use a trolling motor to move up and down a bank. It's very rare that you're going to stay in one spot. Sometimes you do. Most of the time you're going back and forth. So that's what this allows me to do. Can't do it with that thing. I mean, you could, but it'd be hard to control, and it's very loud. So this allows you to creep up on them. This is 30 pounds, by the way. 30-pound thrust. So it's the smallest Minn Kota makes that I know of. And it pushes this thing pretty nicely. Okay, so I did a little research today on eBay, and I looked up this motor. Be very careful. I'm telling you right now, if you're watching this and you're interested in one of these motors, I highly recommend them. They're pretty cool. You take care of them, man. Put the right lower unit oil in there. All right, just like a big motor, it works the exact same way. Okay, and you take care of this thing, man. No matter how you modify it, it's going to take care of you. It's a great motor. I've had it for almost a year now, and it works just fine. But I gotta warn you, I found this exact motor, 7-horse, 4-stroke, 173, or what says 196, whatever you want to call it, for $1,300 something. Do not buy that one, okay? Don't buy that. I mean, it was the exact same motor, okay? It's the exact same motor on eBay. Several different companies sell them. I'm not real sure who I bought it from. Now, the company that makes it's Hangkai, or Hangkai, whatever. But I found it on... I've found it with several different sellers on eBay. So just be careful. Shop around for any of these type of motors. Get the best deal. This one was $695. That's not bad, man. That's really not bad to add a motor to your kayak. That's what you want to do. So I'm telling you, don't buy the one that's $1,300. They're not that expensive. All right, about to crank this thing up. So here's what we do first. Pump it a few times. All right. Yeah. By the way, I had that vented. Don't worry. But yeah, man, dude, this thing will go, dude. I mean, how many people you know can rev up their kayak? Come on, it's a whole new level of ridiculousness. It's awesome.